Outside of your father, do you have other people that you sort of look to as mentors?
Yes. Well, this is like, I'm sincere when I say this, but JBW is one definite mentor that I really want to mention.
Yeah.
I'm engrossed by his wisdom and his posts, his practical thinking, and his sense of humor. But if you have a look at his success in investment, his success in martial arts, the success that he's actually got within his family unit, and just his wisdom. I mean, honestly, I really get a buzz out of reading his daily posts. Sometimes he'll put 3 posts up in one day, and I can't handle it. Like. But definitely, John Bernard Will. Is definitely one of my mentors. Grant Cardone. He's I recently went over to, well, when this is way before, not way before, but before COVID hit. I was in Las Vegas, and my dad and my twin brother and myself went over to Grant Cardone. He's got a book called 10X Your Life, which I highly recommend everybody reads. A lot of people think that it's more about money, but it's got absolutely nothing to do with money. It's about 10xing your goals. And I think that look, the way I read Grant Cardone is that he's kind of like, get your goals and 10 times them by 10. It kind of like, the philosophy that I believe is what he's preaching is that, if you can 10 times your goals, and you've got 3 goals, if you just said, I've got 3 goals and that's what I'm going to go, you probably won't achieve them. But if you 10 times them by 10, well, those 3 goals are going to be quite easily to achieve. That's kind of like the way that I kind of read his philosophies. He's a very energetic, plus he's in the same industry as myself. He's got 10,000 investment properties that are worth about $3 billion.
Wow.
And and he's he's a very, very inspirational man. So that's another man that I really find as a mentor. I could mention many, JJ. Like,
I bet you can.
My latest craze is definitely Grant Cardone. I would highly recommend that people read his book.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So now you're back in Coffs Harbour. You're running the business with your brother.
Yes.
The Crush Crew.
The Crush Crew.
So how is it? How is it running a business with a twin brother?
It's fantastic. We're definitely the twins that don't really have to say very many words to understand each other. I mean, Johnny is just he's a master at the fields that he works within, with the business, with the suppliers that we use, whether it be Mitre 10 or some of the brick companies, some of the plaster companies. Like, they're big names, they're big companies, and he just does, the way that he sets up or helps set up the actual stake deals. You know, because we're building, you know, 250 plus homes a year across regional New South Wales. So we work with some pretty big players. But in the construction industry, in the way that we can build a house fully finished in 16 weeks, I mean, he's just he's a master at his craft. Put me in marketing. You're probably annoyed with all my ads. I don't know if you get them in my TV ads, if you get them in Ballina, JJ, but anyway, put me in marketing and HR and the account side of things, the business side of things, the entrepreneur side of things. That's pretty much my niche. So we work extremely well together. He takes care of his part of the company. I take care of mine. You know, he's a 51% shareholder. I'm 49%, but he's 18 minutes older than me, so I can see how that's kind of fair. You know, we both agree with the charities that we actually help out. We're always there to you know, give a majority of our profits to charity. The charities that look, to be honest with you, I've never come across one that I feel that wasn't really active or didn't actually make some kind of difference. So I'm not even going to categorize it that way, JJ. But you know, like you know, but I do know that the ones that we do support do make a real difference to the communities and societies and stuff like that. We do a lot of sponsorships, but at the same time, it's, you know, myself and my wife are very active humanitarians. You know, that's our hobby. You know, it is our hobby as humanitarians and stuff like that. We kind of went on a pilgrimage for 4 months just recently. You know what I mean? To get really active in you know, the fight against drugs within our society. You know, I'm actually working on a bit of a better campaign at the moment, believing that things will definitely go back to normal, definitely believing that they will. You know, we want to get more active with the schools as far as drugs with the schoolies that occurs on in the Gold Coast. You know, the festivals and so forth. Very active in that kind of stuff because drugs are a pretty bad ruin within society. So that's I kind of got on off a tangent, but that's what it's like to work with my twin brother.
No, that's all good. Do you think in some way now that those experiences have actually benefited you in life, sort of down the track, as rough as they were at the time, and you know, and all the you know, the human and financial costs that there were, but putting all that aside, do you think you've now in some way benefited through the experience you've had as a result of that, or the learnings you've had from it?
100%, because the thing about it is that I can spot in any individual and any close friend where the spiral can really start to get bad, and I can come in and start to help at a certain point when things can get really bad. So that's a really good question, JJ. Those experiences have taught me pretty much to know when to get involved, to know, like, look, you know, I understand the Are You Okay program. I understand that, but from those experiences that I've experienced, I know when a mate or a friend is literally on the path to hit rock bottom, and I know, based on my experiences, when to really ask that question, if you know what I mean. But I do more than just Are you okay? Like, I get personal. You can't be afraid to get personal, especially when it comes to helping out a mate. I really, really want to encourage that. You really need to get personal, get in their face, and honestly, really, really, you've got to shake them up to that degree, because the thing about it is that if you don't impinge on people in letting them know if it's coming from the flow of care and understanding, right? If you lose them, it won't be a problem to you. If you got personal and in their face and really wanted to say, hey, mate, I really want to help you out. This is what you're doing. That it's like, this is not okay what you're doing, and it's going to get worse for you if you keep doing it. Just look, you know, let's catch up. Let's go train. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Get personal. Get involved.
Yeah.
Right. It's a, and you can't lose. You won't lose. Generally, you will not lose that as a mate, right? Because you need to impinge that hard on them. And I've only realised that because I needed that, JJ. I needed somebody to actually get in my face and say, this is not okay.
Yeah.
Let's sort this out. Let's do something different, right? I needed that. Every person I looked after, they needed that. And so throughout all my experiences, I realized, wow, I wouldn't have actually got there if I had that person just right in my face, getting personal. And so honestly, you know, don't be afraid. If say, for instance, at the point where you think that, like, you know, they probably would have gotten a little bit worse or not even a little bit worse and you kind of did that, who cares? At least they know that you're actually there as a mate, getting personal with them, saying, hey, dude, you know, you need to clean your act up.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. And, you know, and I think lots of people, if you just say to them, are you okay? They're just going to say yes.
Exactly. Hey, mate, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Well, mate, honestly, that's not what I'm hearing. Why is that? Well, what were you doing on the weekend, bro? You didn't even come home. Like, you know, your wife was calling my wife, and what's going on, mate? You can't. It's not. What's happening? What's happening, mate? You know, tell me, talk to me. Like, honestly, you need to take. It's a few more sentences than "Are you okay?" You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not having a go at that. I just honestly, JJ, it's just it takes a little bit more impingement for someone to turn around and go, yep, okay, righto, yeah, right. And also at the same time, you certainly get a lot of respect, you know?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, one of the reasons, you know, we're having these conversations too is to not just to give, you know, maybe people some hope and be able to, you know, and show people that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but just to have to talk about this stuff, you know, to make it okay to talk about this stuff. And
100%. Yeah. 100%. You can be ashamed at all your out ethics, and you know, and the thing about it is that you know, when you do get someone talking that's that's sort of like very ashamed of what they've done or anything like that, you know, it's kind of like you've got to make it okay for them in that moment. Like if they keep doing it stuff, you know, you've got to give them more of a rattle up. But you're 100% right, JJ. As far as our conversation's concerned, if we were to, you know, cause an effect on anybody listening, you know, it does actually, if you can understand that, sure, they're ashamed and they don't want to talk about it, you know, be there, but be there more than often than what you think, you know what I mean? And honestly, you know, texts and phone calls are honestly not enough. They're not enough.
No. And you
turn
know,
up on the doorstep, mate.
Yeah, and I think, you know, speaking from personal experience, like when you're in a bad spot and the right person says, "Hey, mate, what's going on? You know, are you all right?" To be able to feel comfortable to say to that person, you know, "No, I'm not really," is a relief, you know. So
yes. A big relief.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know,
you know, you can actually do like, you know, you can kind of like you know, if you've got a group of mates, like, you know, like this is how you know, Benny, Johnny and I would handle the situation. You know, we take turns in not calling up to say, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" No, it would be more to the degree where I'd ring up, "Hey, you're right, mate," like this, and then get Johnny to go, "Okay, well, he's closer than him. I've called him. Johnny's going around the next day," and you kind of like put him in a scrum in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it's, I'll tell you what, some people would not agree with my tactics, but I've seen it work many, many times. Oh, look how many people I've actually got around me that actually care about me and want to see me succeed. You know, look how many people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty ruthless with the type of people that I hang around, because those type of people have got high integrity. So if they kind of step out of line, I'm one of those mates that has no. I've got no back off in ringing them up, going, "Hey, this is out of character, bro." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just the standards that I live with now. You know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what kind of lifestyle you live. You know, I had even in my darkest days and my worst taking of drugs, I had some good people, some good mates around me, and they were taking drugs and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't take much to get, you know, some people together. And I'm not talking about an intervention.
No.
I'm just talking about a check-in point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go around there, you know, and that's, you know, it's very, very simple. Very simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, you're absolutely right. I can't agree with you. Can't agree with you more. And,
Yes.
you know, it's that family community, you know, and particularly, you know, sometimes, you know, those people don't have family around them, which makes the community, the mates, all the more important.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Well, I think your story is amazing, really. You know,
Thank you.
knowing, you know, and hearing, you know, how bad it got, you know, where you ended up, and the fact that you're, and I think it's a testament not just to you, but also to your whole family, really. That.
Oh, thank you.
You've been embraced back into the family business. You and your brother have, you know, that the business just seems to be going from strength to strength. And it's an amazing story. And
thank you.
Thank you.
I think if I could make one more point, JJ, for you, is that, you know, our Aussie culture, it's against our Aussie culture to be on ourselves, right? So it's kind of like a bit of a cultural thing that we can't be on ourselves. We can't big note ourselves. We've got to put ourselves down so that we are liked. And I'll tell you what, I'd love to actually go to the root of where that began, especially within our culture of Australians, and just get rid of it, because it's so false to really understand, believe, and love yourself. And I can honestly tell you that, JJ, it's like when I started.
The fact you're proud doesn't make you arrogant.
Exactly.
You're just proud, you know.
Exactly. I mean, you're a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, that's absolutely incredible, right? I know I've observed how humble people change when they actually achieve that black belt, but you're still JJ, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the thing about it is that, I mean, I'm only really kind of mentioning that to a degree where it's funny how in our culture it's not advertised as much as what it is in other countries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm what I probably feel. I mean, I'm proud of the fact that I achieved my black belt.
Of course.
But probably more than anything, I'm grateful for it.
Yes.
And probably most, you know, grateful for the fact that it's probably been the most constant thing in my life for the last 21 years.
Yes. Okay.
And it's also introduced me to so many amazing people.
Yeah. Great.
With similar goals. But yeah, we don't really, you're right. We don't really, you know, speak up much about our achievements.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know whether it's, you know, our convict origins or something that.
It's exactly where I went on the time track when I mentioned it. Was like it had to have originated somewhere around then, you know.
Yeah, and then, you know, and it's, you know, you talk about Aussie culture. The other thing is, you know, the expectation to get on the booze. It's You know, you work in the construction industry. You know, it's you, you know the knockoff beers.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the fact that there's even a term for it.
Yeah.
Like I don't
exactly.
I don't know that there is in other countries, you know, in other cultures, but you know, we have a knockoff, you know, we have a knockoff beer, you know, and you know, like other, you know, look at other countries where maybe, you know, where say maybe they drink a lot of wine. They don't really drink a lot of wine.
Yes, that's true.
They might have what we'd consider to be half a glass of wine with their meal.
Yes, that's right.
We drink the bottle. You know,
we've actually made it okay. We've made it okay that a bottle of wine at night is okay, and that's it's not okay. It's like, you know, it's not okay to the degree that, you know, like you know, I'm not totally dead against alcohol, but under the current scene, I don't agree with it. It's just, you know, and it is a cultural thing. It's a bit of a trap.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to, you know, self-invalidation is a big thing within our culture. You know what I mean? I love the Aussie sense of humor, don't get me wrong, but I don't agree with the self-invalidation type of lingo. You know what I mean? Because it's actually quite a bit of a sneaky trap towards believing untruths, and that's where things can, like, so I really do mean it when I say that I'm my biggest fan. You know, I'm my biggest uplifter, and I tell you what, you know, I've got a great, strong, clear, powerful voice, and I tell myself every day all the good things that I know I can do and the things that I achieve. And I tell you what, it's very, very successful. There's you know, the monkey mind, as far as the monkey mind's concerned, I remember driving along one day and stuff like that, and I'd have this fleeting thought of something that I did or didn't do, or said or didn't say, kind of was embarrassed by whatever had happened, and I would look at myself up in the driver's visor, and I would just, and the names I would call myself looking in the mirror of the visor in the car, you know, you know, I stopped listening to that voice, and I turned it around, and I just started validating the rightness in everything that I was actually doing, in the smallest things, and that was a huge turnaround.
Yeah,
massive turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, I've got this attitude that, you know, there are a lot of things that maybe if I were to do them again, I might do them differently, but I didn't.
Okay.
And there's no point, you know, there's no point being ashamed, you know, of what's happened in the past. You know, there's no point, you know, regrets have no value.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, in my opinion, and you know, there's things I've handled badly in, you know, relationships and with my health and with careers and with financial decisions and property sales, you name it. But you know, they're done. And, you know, and I think all I can do is, you know, be the best person I can be moving forward. And I think that's, you know, that's sort of what you're saying in your words as well.
Exactly.
You know, it's yeah, and you should be. I think you should be your number one fan.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you've got. You know.
I found if I based on our culture that we live in, if I don't tell myself, nobody else is going to.
Yeah, there is a lot of that, isn't there? Look at that cocky bugger, you know.
Exactly.
But you know. But you've got a lot to be proud of, you know. So
I appreciate that. JJ. Yeah,
mate. We could probably talk for hours.
Of course.
If it goes for too long, people are going to look at it and say, "Oh, look, it's 3 hours. That's too long. I'm not going to." So yeah, we might cut it away in a minute. But you know, I think do you have any sort of pearls of wisdom, or you know, anything you know that sort of you think is, you know, motivates you, or is inspirational that other people should? You mentioned 10x your life, but any hints or suggestions for people as far as moving forward in life, particularly if they're stuck?
I just think that there's always a point in people's lives before they're unhappy, they were happy. And during the time that they're unhappy, they start to discard all the successful actions that they were doing day to day and all the things that made them happy. They don't even think that they ever existed because they're unhappy. I'd highly advise what people should do is write down the successful actions that they were doing when they were happy. It's very, very simple to throw all that happiness out the door and as if it never existed during a point of times when things are really all wrong and they're not happy and everything's, the bills are not paid and, you could go on and on about general life problems. Before they got unhappy, they were happy.
Yeah. And I just doing then. Yeah.
Exactly. Write down the successful actions, and I can honestly tell you, you can do it again. There's no doubt about it. You can actually do it again. And then as soon as you write down the successful actions, I think the best thing about the creative nature of human beings is that, you can write down the successful actions and you can create on top of those successful actions. It's really funny how it's like you really start to put your intention in on all the things that made them happy. You can start working towards those things, do them again, but you can actually, it's actually a bit of a rabbit hole towards happiness within life. And I found that worked for me. And I just kept sticking to those things. And I found that, if I hit a bit of a rough spot, I go, okay, this aspect of my life when it came to relationships, why is my wife not happy right now? What did I do that made her happy and stuff like that? Oh, I know. It wasn't actually the big things. It was the little things. And it's very easy. It all takes action. It all takes action, but write the successful actions down. I promise you'll be happy again.
There's a couple of words you've used this evening. One is earlier on at the start of the conversation, you used the word purpose, and you've just used the word intention.
Sure.
So do you see yourself as having a greater purpose?
Oh, definitely. Because it's one that serves higher than me. Based on just with the humanitarian work and the charity work that honestly, the building industry and the real estate industry certainly does make me a great dollar, but it's, I've just kind of grown to a point now where I like playing many games, not just the real estate game, not just the actual building game. My purpose in life really is to better the conditions of the people that are within my vicinity, within my space.
Yeah.
So, you've inspired me today, JJ, with this podcast, and with our conversation, it's like I like being around people like yourselves, but also you do attract a lot of people in your lives, and it's the interchangeable of ideas of your purpose and my purpose, your intention and my intention.
Yeah.
That honestly is the infectious, positive, whatever you want to call it, nature and spirit of us human beings.
Yeah.
And we need to enhance that a lot more. And that's why I'm just, I'm not going to tell you how much I make an hour, but I can honestly tell you this is a worthwhile couple of hours sitting here talking to you. I can tell
you. Intention. You said you have to set intentions. So when you talk about intention.
Sure. So the thing about the way that I explain intention, JJ, is that so I'll put my attention on creating a goal or wanting to achieve a goal.
Yep.
So I'll put my attention on that, and then I'll look at it and go, okay, how valuable is this goal? What's going to be the end result if I achieve this goal? Now, when I analyze it that way, and I look at it from every side, right? The best goals are the ones that benefit not just you, but your whole family and your business. That's one point I'd like to throw in there. So you can put your attention in on the goal. Intention is everything that I actually thrive and put action in to actually get it. So that's how I kind of differentiate between attention and intention.
So you set this intention. How do you keep yourself on track?
Oh, well, they've got to be written down, and they've got to be inspected. Well, you see, I've got such intention now that I only really have to inspect the steps moving closer towards those goals weekly, not so much daily, if you know what I mean. Like I'm very disciplined that way. So that's a very good question. It's something that I'm only really figuring out now, that I used to actually look at, the daily steps, the smallest things that I needed to actually do, phone call, send an email or something like that, that sort of helped me reach the goal a bit quicker. Now I really only have to inspect how close I'm getting towards that goal on a weekly, on a weekly schedule. You got to have a daily battle. You do definitely have to have a daily battle plan. Like, I have a daily battle plan every single day, and every action is all like leading towards a certain goal. Every single action that I do, and I'm not up till midnight at night. You know what I mean? I certainly get a good 8 hours sleep. So it's like a lot of people kind of like misjudge in how much time they've got. Well, time's a bit of a consideration. Grab the most important goals and battle plan your day. Towards that.
So you say that you now only really need to inspect it weekly rather than daily. Is that because the actions have become habits?
Exactly. Yeah, very good, JJ. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, exactly. It has become habitual. It's just it's kind of like my normal operating basis. Yeah. So it's just you kind of groove into it. It might be a little bit arduous at first. Oh, I got to write this down. I got to look at it. I got to do this. I got to do that. But it becomes the more you practice, it just becomes kind of second nature. And that's a really good way to say it, JJ. That's it is habitual. It's just a part of my daily routine. So yeah, well said.
It's a bit like drilling techniques.
Exactly. Yeah.
Drill them enough until they just flow. Yeah.
Exactly. And some are some can be 5-year goals.
Yeah.
Some can be a 12-month goal. I wasn't doing very well in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu based on my powerlifting injuries, and it's my muscle tone is very tight and dense, and so I really wanted to put a lot of intention into reaching wasn't so much a belt, it was actually getting through 5 rounds in rolling. So I changed my operating basis and started, instead of doing resistance training, I started yoga.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And that worked extremely successful. Now I can actually juggle resistance training and yoga in conjunction with actually rolling and wrestling with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So there's a world of things you can do out there. You can put it into your schedule and you can run with it,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, stay busy. You know what I mean? You just don't let your mind just wander. Stay active, stay busy. It's worked definitely for me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Are you still loving jiu-jitsu as much as you always have?
More now.
Yeah.
More now, JJ, because I think, look, I know for a fact that the culture of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is so different to very many other martial arts, personally to me. Whereas, it's so technical and it keeps your mind really, really active. It really gets you thinking. You got to send a lot of mind power to different parts of the body you never really thought could work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Work under stress.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, it really is, it's a great exchange between two people. I mean, there's no other martial arts that I've ever experienced where it's such a great exchange between, the person that you actually are wrestling with,
Yeah.
Our clubs have pretty much adopted the whole thing that you don't tap someone 3 times within a 5-minute roll. You know what I mean? It's more to the degree. It's like you tap them once by doing something wrong. You tap them twice. You just tell them what they're doing wrong. There's no ego. There's no ego in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
I don't think you can learn past that if you keep tapping people. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I turned 57 this year, and jiu-jitsu is physically, as you know, quite physically demanding. And
yes.
I made a couple of decisions in relation to my jiu-jitsu. One I made quite a while ago, which was that I need to enjoy every transaction on the mat, whether it's drilling, sparring, warming up, whatever it might be. But the other one that I've sort of made more recently, as I've sort of been getting older, and I'm in pretty good nick for a 57-year-old, but it's hard, and so I've removed any attachment to the outcome.
That's great.
So my attachment is to just enjoying the exchange, as you described. It's a great exchange between. Yeah. And
you mind if I adopt that, JJ? Because based on your concepts and viewpoint and attitude, I kind of didn't see it that way, and I really know that I can actually adopt that within my BJJ, especially the appreciation with the transactions that you do. Like I guess I haven't seen that I should really appreciate every transaction as far as the warm-up is concerned and all that kind of stuff, and you kind of opened my eyes a little bit on those simple points. Thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I do, like it. I just decided that if I'm to stay doing jiu-jitsu into my 60s, which is my intention,
right, then
I need to have an intelligent approach for an older guy who's wrestling with younger, stronger, quicker, more dynamic, more athletic individual.
Of course.
Sometimes all of the above at the same time.
Yes.
Because I can't imagine life without it. I mean, obviously one day, the day will come one day where I can sort of just sit in the corner and,
Yeah, definitely.
You point us to the white belts, but I can't imagine life without jiu-jitsu. So that's my strategy for staying in the game. So
I'm the same. And my wife's now got the bug. She just got her first stripe on her white belt the other week.
Awesome.
And it was like, we have definitely set a definite goal for the both of us to get our black belts in BJJ.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, I'm 44 and she's 46.
Yeah.
We're not stopping, and we'll keep going past that belt. But when we set a definite goal, this is what's great. When I said you can if you set a goal that can involve, like, that's a great goal that's worthwhile setting out to achieve. If it can involve others, like people within your work, your mates, and your or your family, it's definitely a very good goal to set out to achieve. I mean, my son's 17.
Yeah.
He's bigger than me. He's 126 kilos and stuff. And oh boy, he's been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since he was 9.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so it's a very incredible family dynamic thing to do. You know, yeah, we absolutely we love it.
Yeah, that's great, mate. We might wrap it up.
Okay, mate.
I've loved talking to you. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate the fact that you sent me a message and said that you'd like to chat. And
yes,
I think it's a great conversation that we've had, and maybe we have another one down the track.
I'd love to.
But yeah, lots of love to you, your brother, both of your families. Give Chris Hellback a big hug for me when you see him.
I will.
Training.
Definitely.
I'm really grateful for you coming on today, and we'll get this online sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm just waiting to tidy up a few things.
Sure.
It's thanks very much, Mike. I really appreciate your time, and I love chatting to you. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, you too, JJ. It's my pleasure. And look, I really want to acknowledge the thing you're doing. You're doing a great thing. Thanks so much for that, mate.
Thanks, man.
All right, mate.
Yeah. See you soon.
You too. See you, mate.